Hello, everyone. My name is LaShonda Prim. I am a transformational speaker, author, and entrepreneur, owner of Dream Essential Skin and Body Care, an all natural skin and body care company that focuses on natural beauty. I am also the founder of Dazzling Divas, empowering women towards success, where my mission is to motivate women to overcome obstacles, vision success, and embrace change. When I was younger, I would always want to see a smile on everyone's faces. I didn't care what was going on. I didn't care who was hurting or why they were hurting. I just never liked to see people feeling down and out. I always tried to make people laugh and bring out a better side of them. And as I got older, I realized that God was showing me something about myself even back then, that I had the ability to transform lives. Okay. And I took that a few years ago and began to start transforming different things about myself in order for me to make an impact and make changes in other people. So I wanted to show people, others, how they could transform their lives from the person that they are into the person that they would like to be, or the person that God is telling you that you are becoming. Okay. So I'm just going to share a bit about my story and my backstory and where I came from and the obstacles that I had to face in life in order to get to where I am today. Because there was once upon a time where I was just out of it, doing whatever I wanted to do and not caring about anything in the world except for what Shonda wanted. And we all know that when you have a purpose, a calling on your life, God won't let you go. He's going to make sure that you do exactly what it is that you have been called to do. So he kept tugging at my heart. And then I was able to meet him where I was. Okay. So at the age of 16, I became pregnant with my oldest son, and his name is Brandon. And I thought that life was just over. I was so, I was highly respected in school. Like a lot of people knew me. I had a lot of accolades, high positions that I held in my school, in clubs. Grades were good. I just felt like I was going to disappoint everybody now that I was pregnant. Okay. And that's exactly what happened. Okay. I was disappointing a lot of people. Even still today, you could actually hear how sometimes when I try to explain it, it's like I really want people to understand that it was a rough season for me to get through that. Okay. But nevertheless, at 17, I had him, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? I have this little baby. I need to figure out how am I going to support this child. Okay. And I had the help of the village, grandparents, great grandparents, siblings, everybody helped out as much as they could. Okay. And I realized then that this was going to be a task that I was not going to be able to accomplish all by myself. So I ended up going to cosmetology school afterwards, and I felt like honestly, I felt like I was not college material. Okay. Sometimes we say, well, I just didn't want to go to college. No, I felt like I really was not college material. I felt like I was going to fail if I went to college, and I had already had applications that I had put out to different colleges, but my goal was to go to Clemson University. I never actually made it to Clemson University. Okay. So I decided that I was going to go to cosmetology school. That was the next best thing for me because I was great with doing hair. I was already doing that. It was my thing. Like that was my niche, okay? Or niche, as some people would say it. And I realized that this was not something light. I was doing something that was really going to change lives, okay? And it changed my life as well. So every time someone would come and sit in my chair, I would talk to them. Even if they were down and out, I would share my story about being a single mom and learning my way on this new journey with a little tiny baby, 1 years old, and sharing how it impacted my life and it made me make the decision to come to cosmetology school. So even in that mistake that I made, and not saying that me having a baby was well, it was a mistake, but my child is not a mistake. So I wanted to just really encourage other people that it doesn't matter what you're going through or when you go through it. It's how you come out of it, okay? That is the big thing. We want to make sure that we are constantly motivating and inspiring, and that's all I wanted to do. So even when I was 17 years old, 18 years old, and going through cosmetology school, I still wanted to see those same smiles on the people's faces, even though I didn't always feel like I had a smile in my heart. I had a smile on my face, but not in my heart. Okay. But I always wanted to see other people happy, which is something that we all kind of struggle with also, because we want to see the best in other people. But why can't we always pull out the best in ourselves? Why don't we see the best in ourselves? Okay. And that is something that we all can work on. Okay. No matter what our age is, no matter what mistakes we make, we can all work on that. So once I graduated from cosmetology school, I decided that, man, this is something that I am going to be able to take with me. And I realized quickly that it was going to take more than that. I still had to go to state board to pass my exams. And I also had to find some place to work. Now, there were a lot of places in Charleston to work, okay? And I just realized that it just was not going to be enough for me. I needed to make some changes. So that's exactly what I did. I decided to follow my first initial plan that I had in the beginning before I got pregnant with my son, and that was to go into the military. So when I went into the military, y'all, I thought that this was it. Like, I found my career. I am going to do big things. Like, I am not going to be broke no more. I'm not going to have to worry about no bills, like all of that. Please. Okay. People think when you go in the military, you make tons of money. We just going to leave that alone. Okay. But I wanted to really just share my journey of being in the military as a single mom now, okay? Because here I am with this tiny baby, and I'm leaving him with my mom and my stepfather to be taken care of while I go through training. Well, 3 weeks into my training, I realized that something was happening to me, and I did not understand and did not know what was going on. So quickly, they began to ask me the ultimate question. When you go to basic training and something goes wrong, they tell you, do you want to go home? And I was like, absolutely not. So I ended up telling them that I don't know what's going on with my body. You see, I was having these blackouts. I would get out of bed and I slept on the top bunk, y'all. Okay. I would get out of bed and like hit the floor, boom, just pass out. Okay. I would go into the bathroom trying to run to use the restroom in the middle of the night, and I would pass out. I would be out running for PT and turn around, pass out. Nobody knew what was going on, so they thought that I was having anxiety attacks. Y'all, was not having anxiety attacks. Okay. By the time I got through midway through basic training and ended up passing my final PT test at the end of basic training, I ended up getting a diagnosis that was going to impact my career overall. Okay. I ended up having a condition called vasovagal syncope. This meant that I have blackouts. Okay. It's a blockage in the flow of your blood that causes you to lose consciousness. If you go from sitting to standing too fast, your blood pressure drops, your heart rate can increase, and it will cause you to pass out. Okay. So I realized that I was going to have to fight to keep my new career because, y'all, I was like, this ain't nothing new to me. I was like, I got this, no problem. Like, I could do this. Well, they were not as convinced. Okay. So I made it through. my first year in the military, made it through my second year in the military after doing 2 deployments. And then I went on to another duty station in Germany. Once I got to that duty station in Germany, it was totally different because you see, when people know you, they know your condition and they know how to deal with you and how to understand you. And that was my first duty station. But when I left and went to a new duty station, I had to tell them what was going on with me. I couldn't deploy. And they were like, this is not going to work. Like, you can't deploy. Like, we're supposed to be in Iraq right now. And come to find out, they were trying to kick me out the whole time because if you're not deployable, they don't want you in a deployable unit. Okay. They want people that can actually go when it's time to go. You have to be ready. And because of my medical condition, I was not ready. I was not deployable. Okay. So that meant that I was going to end up having to find another route, y'all. So I ended up being medically discharged in Germany. And I realized that I was feeling depressed. I was feeling anxious. I was feeling like, what am I going to do now? I don't know where life is going to take me at this point because I thought this was going to be my overall career. I was going to do 20 years and everything was going to be fine. I was going to retire and my kids would be okay. I just felt like everything was falling apart. And in actuality, that's what happened. I felt like I was broken. I felt like I didn't have the ability to be able to complete what I started. Anything that I tried to start, I was not able to complete it. So that made me feel unaccomplished. It made me feel like a failure. It made me feel like here I am yet again running back home to my mom's house, and I am not able to accomplish what I set out to accomplish, which was for me to build a sustainable career in the military. Can you imagine how that made me feel after I had already talked all this trash? Like, oh, I got this nice career. I'm doing all the things I want to do. I'm traveling and making money and meeting new people and all of the above, y'all. And guess what? I had to go back home. But in between me going back home and this time, I had already gotten married. I had my second child, which is my daughter, Keasia. And things weren't going as good in my marriage. Okay. And I realized quickly that I needed to make some changes, but I didn't make the changes. Okay. I was very disobedient. And I just felt like, okay, if we're going to do this marriage thing, let's just try to figure out how we can, be the best versions of ourselves together, okay? Not be the best versions of ourselves apart, okay? And I did not know where life was going to take that marriage at that time, okay? But what I did know was that I respected marriage, but I did not respect it in a way where God was the third strand in our marriage. Okay. You see, I remember my mom told me, she said, LaShonda, she said, come on home. Nobody's going to think that you didn't do what you were supposed to do. But at the same time, I also had to remind myself, like, it's not just about me getting medically discharged from the military. It's also about me leaving my marriage and trying to figure out how things were going to go and trying to figure out how I was going to be a single parent again. Okay. And in the process of me doing that, y'all, a year later, here I am in this marriage and not happy. Another child is on the way, and that's my youngest son, Antoine. And he, it was like we just could not get along. We just couldn't. And yet again, I felt like here I am in something else where I am failing. I am just failing at everything in life. I failed at not graduating, with being a single parent. I failed at not going to college. I failed at not finishing cosmetology school. I failed at getting medically discharged from the military. I just felt like a failure. And now here I am getting ready to fail at marriage. Can you imagine the thoughts that go through someone's head when you are feeling like a failure and everything is just making you feel like you can't do anything right? Okay. That's how I was feeling. that's when I started realizing that depression was real. Okay. I really was going through it, but I did not know how to channel those feelings. So I decided that I was going to keep myself very busy. Okay. But I wasn't busy doing the right things, I was busy doing the wrong things. You see, I thought that if I did the same thing that my husband was doing at that time, I would be able to get him back. Y'all, I made myself feel so low. I made myself feel so depressed. I made myself feel so anxious during this time to where it led to a place where I was disobedient in everything about marriage. Okay. I was lying. I was cheating. I was doing a lot of things that I had no business doing. But when I tell you that did not stop me from becoming a better version of myself either. I went through domestic violence in that marriage, and I quickly realized that it was not all his fault. It was my fault too. I had a big role to play in that. So I had to own up to my responsibility in that marriage, the things that I could have done better and the things that I could have changed. Okay. So I decided that once I left that marriage, I was now a single parent. I had to learn how to trust and believe in God. Okay. I went through so many periods of times when I just wanted to give up, but I couldn't. And I remember I was waiting on this job for 5 years, y'all, 5 years. Finally, I got the position. When I got that position, y'all, I was so happy. I had just went through a broken relationship yet again. And I said, I am not going to give up here. I'm going to move back to Charleston. I'm going to get this job. I'm going to make this money because everything said that I was supposed to be the best version of myself that I could be. And y'all, once I got the job, guess what happened? I was not happy. I was still depressed. I was still having anxiety attacks. I was still going through so much. But guess what? I turned all of that around and I gave my life to Jesus Christ. And I said, Lord, whatever it is that you would have me to do in this season, just show me. Tell me where to go and I'll go. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. I started a nonprofit organization called Dazzling Divas, Empowering Women Towards Success, where my mission is to motivate women to overcome obstacles, vision success, and embrace change. And that I ended up meeting a whole lot of other women that were going through things. I was able to birth my very first book. Okay. Y'all, I was so scared. I was so scared, but something inside of me said, you can do this. And I did it. But it didn't come at just a small cost. It came at a big cost because that same job that I wanted so bad, I waited 5 years for, I had to quit it. Okay. Sometimes God will have you to release something out of your life in order for Him to put something better in your life, but it does come with a cost. Sometimes we have to be okay with just jumping in head first and not worrying about what that cost is going to be. And that's exactly what I did. In the process of that, I was able to mentor young girls. I was able to go through helping other single mothers and creating this organization. It was a lot of fun, guys. But when I tell you it was hard, there were days that I didn't have money, that I didn't know how I was going to get certain things that my children needed. I tell the story all the time of how my son came home and he needed deodorant and he was in high school playing soccer, y'all. And I didn't have no change, no dollars, no nothing. I was dead broke. And I said, I would never let this happen again. And I know that some of y'all may be going through that story, but I want to encourage you that there is nothing that you cannot do, nothing that you can't accomplish. And I want you to understand that God makes no mistakes when He does things, okay? In that process, I was able to learn how to create natural products that was going to work for me and my family at that time because I had no money. I'm talking no change in the cup holder, no nothing, okay? And now here I am today. I have a thriving skincare business called Dream Essential Skin and Body Care that focuses on all natural skincare. So when I tell you that God will do everything that He said He would do, I don't worry about the cost of anything now. I don't worry about what happened in my past. I only look forward to my future and whatever it is that God has planned for me in this life. So I want to encourage you, if you are ready to move from the place that you are right now into a place of becoming who God would like for you to be, I want you to connect with me. You can connect with me at www.lashondaprim.com, okay? And I want you to sign up for my course. And I want to leave you with one last thing. Remember, nobody can do you better than you. So be great at who you have been called to be. I love you guys. Thank you for listening.